The hospital room was quiet, too quiet. Only the faint beeping of the monitor and the sterile hum of the air conditioner broke the silence. Then, through the haze of anesthesia and pain, Evelyn heard voices, sharp, angry voices cutting through the fog of her half-conscious mind. A woman's furious tone echoed first. "You have no right to name her baby Adrian. You promised me we'd start fresh, without her." Then came a man's voice, low, commanding, trembling with suppressed emotion. "This is my child too, Vanessa. You don't get to decide everything." Evelyn blinked, her vision blurry, her throat dry, her mind spinning in disbelief. Her baby, her husband, his mistress. "If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul of Light, because stories like this remind us how fragile love and hope truly are." Evelyn tried to move, but pain shot through her abdomen. She remembered the surgery, the emergency C-section after hours of labor that nearly cost her life and her baby's, but she had survived. Her son had survived. Or so she hoped. Now, as her senses returned, she realized that the man she once called her husband was here, not to hold her hand, but to argue with another woman over the child she had almost died for. Adrien Voltaire was not just any man. He was a billionaire industrialist, powerful, untouchable, and used to getting his way. When he first met Evelyn 3 years ago, she was a quiet nurse at a charity hospital, working double shifts to care for her ailing mother. He had fallen for her sincerity, her humility, the way she looked at the world with hope instead of greed. Their love story had once been something out of a dream. But somewhere along the way, money and power had stolen that simplicity. And when Vanessa, a glamorous socialite and Adrian's former fiancée, came back into his orbit, Evelyn's world began to crumble. Evelyn had tried to fight for her marriage. She had swallowed humiliation, stayed silent when gossip columns plastered pictures of Adrian and Vanessa at charity events, and prayed that love would bring him back. But when she found out she was pregnant, she had hoped the child would heal everything. Instead, the distance grew. Adrian was rarely home, and when he was cold, distracted, unreachable. Now, hearing Vanessa's voice filled the sterile room with venom. "You can't name him after her father. He abandoned her. You said you'd name him after you, Adrian Jr. So everyone knows he's yours." Evelyn's eyes fluttered open fully now. Her heart pounded. Her baby's name. They were arguing about his name. Without her, she wanted to scream, but her body was too weak. All she could do was watch as the shadows of the two figures by the crib moved back and forth. Adrian's voice softened slightly. "Vanessa, stop. This isn't about you or me. It's about him, about the child." Evelyn wanted to name him Samuel, after her father, yes, but also because it means God has heard. She prayed for this baby every night. Vanessa scoffed, her heels clicking against the tile. "She prayed for you too, remember? And look how that turned out." Her laughter was cruel, brittle. "She's weak, Adrian. She doesn't belong in your world. You pity her, that's all." That word, weak, stabbed through Evelyn like a knife. She had survived betrayal, loneliness, and a dangerous birth. Weak was the last thing she was. Her pulse raced, something inside her surged. She took a deep breath, forced her voice to rise above the fog. "Enough," she whispered, the word barely audible but filled with fire. Both turned toward her, startled. Adrian's eyes widened in shock and guilt. Vanessa froze mid-step, her perfect face paling. Evelyn tried to sit up, clutching her stomach, pain burning through her stitches. "Get out," she said, her voice shaking but strong. "Both of you." Adrian took a hesitant step forward. "Evelyn, please, you shouldn't. I said get out," she repeated, tears pooling in her eyes. "You didn't even ask if your child or I made it through the night. You're here fighting over names like this is some game." She turned her gaze to Vanessa, her tone trembling with quiet fury. "And you, don't you dare stand near my child. You don't know what love is. You only know how to take what isn't yours." For a long, heavy moment, silence filled the room. Vanessa's lips parted, but no words came. She grabbed her purse and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Adrian remained, guilt etched on his face. "Evelyn, I made mistakes, too many," he said softly, "but I never stopped caring." Evelyn closed her eyes, tears slipping down her cheeks. "Caring isn't love, Adrian. You had every chance to choose me, to stand by me, but you chose her. You made me feel like a shadow in my own marriage." Her voice broke, raw and weary. "Now, please, just let me hold my son." Adrian hesitated, then turned toward the small crib. Inside lay a tiny bundle wrapped in blue. He lifted the baby gently and handed him to her. Evelyn's trembling hands reached out, and as she held the baby to her chest, all the noise of the world faded away. The warmth of his small body, the steady beat of his heart, it was everything she needed. She looked down at him, whispering through tears, "Samuel, my little miracle." Adrian stood there, silent, watching her with regret so deep it carved lines into his face. For the first time, the powerful billionaire looked utterly powerless. "Evelyn," he said finally, voice barely above a whisper, "I don't deserve forgiveness, but if you'll let me, I'll make it right, for you, for him." Evelyn looked up, her eyes tired but clear. "Then prove it, not with money, not with promises, but with truth. Be the father he deserves, even if I can't be the wife you want." That night, as the sun dipped through the hospital window, casting a golden glow across the room, Adrian sat quietly in the corner, watching mother and child. No more lies, no more vanity, just a man, stripped of pride, finally realizing what mattered most. Months later, Evelyn walked through a small garden outside her modest apartment, little Samuel in her arms. The flowers swayed gently in the afternoon breeze. She wasn't rich, but she was free. Sometimes Adrian would visit, not as a billionaire, but as a father, quiet, humble, trying to rebuild what he had broken. And though Evelyn's heart still carried scars, she found peace in knowing that strength was not in holding on, but in letting go with grace. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul of Light, because every view, every word of kindness helps keep these true emotions alive. Special request, comment below, what would you name a child who brought hope after heartbreak? And as the camera fades on Evelyn's gentle smile, the message lingers. Sometimes love isn't about possession, but redemption. And sometimes the strongest hearts are the ones that break and heal again.